there is a new spawn for researchers right on site to make sure that they can get to whatever test they were at or to whatever test they need to get to faster, because it makes no sense for you to have to travel back the entire site. Um, Obviously,
Yeah.
because we've redesigned Epsilon, we've also redesigned a couple of the spawns near it and a couple of other areas. Some of those we'll be showing you today. But this is the process through which you'll get to a test from now on. There's plenty of space to bring in vehicles, to bring in large trucks carrying whatever. And all of these spaces have a particular reason, some of which we're not yet ready to let you know. Um, but they'll make a critical impact on how gameplay is. The team has taken a look at what the flow is since you pick up a Class D or since a Class D spawns until they get to a test. And we're going to be releasing improvements, both over time and during major updates, that change, that make it easier for a Class D to actually get into a test if that's what they want. We're working really hard to try and separate the Class Ds that want to riot from the Class Ds that want to be part of tests, knowing that sometimes Class Ds want to do one of both. Um, and we're going to do our best to make sure that it doesn't impact the two types of gameplays. Combatives can still have fun shooting at each other, making sure the CDC is secure or recontaining it when Class Ds escape. And we won't be addressing much the frequency of that. What we'll be doing is making sure that tests aren't affected by that. It's going to be much harder for you to interfere with the other types of side activities. You want to riot, you want to
Rest
make
before you go on
chaos.
MCZ.
Yeah.
Dev, I know you're the master here. I'm seeing some comments about optimization and wondering if Pathos is going to be more laggy. You should probably
Yeah,
address that.
that's a wonderful question. You might have noticed in the latest update, we fixed a lot of the lag in Phi. We've been working with the team at Roblox to make the game more optimized, which isn't very easy to do when the game is this size and this detailed in terms of the map. But I can confidently tell you that in the tests we've run in Epsilon, even on low-end computers, we've gotten a solid 60 FPS. So if you're deep inside Epsilon, it's actually going to be far less laggy than any other site we've released thus far.
Currently,
Obviously,
by the
this is
way,
always subject. What?
as a note for anyone who's concerned about part count, MCZ has less parts right now than the entirety of Epsilon right now has less parts than current MCZ on live.
Yeah, we've now that we have access to new technologies that we didn't when the original Pathos came along, and even the re-release of Pathos came along. What we're creating fresh is much more optimized than old builds. We have already re-uploaded a bit of the old builds to make them better, but obviously there's a limit to what we can do, and we're now more focused on the new builds than we are on the existing ones. I'm also going to take this time to address a couple of questions you guys have on the. Oh, I lost. There sure are a lot of
The
questions here.
stream will be coming back. Russ is just fixing something. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
issues.
I know you guys want to ask a lot of questions about other departments that maybe we've had before. I won't be talking much about them. I can tell you that Command has a plan for them, but our current focus is on the departments that are already in game. I know a lot of departments reasonably have been feeling neglected. Um, we obviously only have a limited capacity. We can't yet have one scripter per department, although we're actually working very hard on hiring enough people that we could, for the future, have one feature being worked on for each department at a time. But as you can imagine, that's a very big endeavor. I can't make promises about that, but I can tell you that it's one of our focus. We've also gotten much more organized as a team recently. Adopted a couple of tools that are going to allow us to better keep track of tasks that we were missing, bugs that we were missing. And by the way, I want to take this time to thank the entire quality assurance team, which, as soon as we adopted those tools, immediately filed what can only be described as 50 bug reports an hour, which, it's great for us to keep track, not as great because I have to fix it. And I also want to thank the entire development team, which has been very hard working at fixing all of them. You guys know who you are. Moving on to a couple of your questions. I'm not going to give a percentage on how much of this is done, not least because it's very difficult to estimate and because we frequently change what our criteria for, let's push this update is. I can tell you that probably the major Rising Dawn update we'll release first is going to be the one we're showing you. This is going to be when you're going to start noticing the major Rising Dawn content entering the game. And yeah.
I can go ahead and give your voice a break, Dev, if you want.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that so I can read a couple of questions.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and look in the chat VC real quick just to make sure I get some stuff. Server
Yeah.
size, that is likely not going to change. We will change it if we need to.
Yeah, I'd like to point out we recently
Spamming
updated.
in the channel does not help. I'm really just gonna ignore you.
Yeah, we recently updated the server size as a temporary test. You guys probably saw that we managed to break well over 200 players during this update. And while the server had some trouble, this is nowhere near the trouble we've had in the past. We know what the major pain point is. We know what's causing the server to struggle now. And it's a massive recode that we're undertaking, but it's one that we're undertaking gladly. I can share with you because this is no problem at all for you to know that the major pain point we have is all the guns firing at once. And we've already worked on some changes and tested some early gun system changes that could potentially mean that there would be no trouble with 200, 300, or even 400 players firing a minigun at once. And while this might seem a little crazy, you guys sure fire a lot of bullets. So we're taking that into account for future updates. We really, there is absolutely no one on the team that doesn't enjoy the idea of a massive player count pathos, because the more players there are, generally, the more fun we're having. And the fact that the site is bigger, as you can see in what Rust is showing you, is also going to allow us to have more players because you're more spread out. The gameplay becomes a little bit less dense, which means we can allow more people into a single server. This is going to make it easier both in performance because if you're all fighting in the same area, the game does get laggy and we can only do so much about that. But it's also going to make it so that when we increase the player count, we're not going to be in a situation of, well, now the CDC is crowded and there aren't enough cells for everyone. So we're really going to be doing our best to mess with that and to make sure that you can actually get as many players as you want in a single server. Because this has been a frequent question, let me also address that we know there have been a couple of persistent bugs, and one of the upcoming updates, one of the series of upcoming updates, is going to be bug bashed. We have been silently pushing a lot of bug fixes to critical issues while you guys weren't looking, sometimes even without logging them, which internally can be a bit of a difficult thing because we often do lose track of the bugs we've already fixed because we're handling a lot of them. We're trying to get better at this, but do know that we're paying attention to them and we're working our best to fix all those persistent bugs. Things like issues in the commands for private servers, we're addressing that and we're also expanding them. because we know that private servers are something very important for departments. This, in our part, is going to take some pretty big changes for some of them. And for some of them, it's just things that we've been neglecting because there's an overwhelming amount of changes we're working on. I don't think any of you will be surprised if I tell you that at this moment, or at least last I checked, we had something like well above 100 confirmed bugs. And it's perfectly natural for us to take care of 20 of them in a single update. But it can be a very overwhelming thing for developers, not the least because it keeps us from releasing new content. Um, I know it can be frustrating. We're working hard to balance between, oh, we want to put new content to keep you guys engaged, and we want to fix bugs that can be very annoying to all of you. We're also working on some things that aren't exactly bugs, but that seem like it because we didn't properly design something. I know this is a big thing, for example, with cuffs that a lot of people didn't even know you could remove other people's tools with it, nor do you know the key code to do it. I know some things like the radio, for example. An upcoming thing I can talk to you about the radio is the fact that we'll finally be bringing, I can't believe we didn't have this, an indicator for unread messages and other channels, and even finally removing the need to for SD to count the amount of times, the amount of strikes until someone gets sent to solitary. Which, by the way, now that it's been approved and now that we've coded the majority of it, I'm also comfortable in announcing that we'll be changing how solitary works so that I can't tell you how it will be, but I can tell you it's no longer boring for Class Ds, at least not as much. And it is also easier for SD to enforce. So you're not going to be able to double M away from it, but you also won't be stuck in a room. It will be nothing like the solitary you've seen until now, and it will be nothing like the punishment we've seen in any other SCPF game. It will be more balanced and it will be a little bit more engaging, so you won't feel the need to run away from it. Not as much, at least. Though for any SD listening, do not count on being able to get me anyways. Yeah.
Cool.
So,
All right, let me go over some questions. Mario, what's up?
as a lot of people are asking, and I want to talk about SVs for a second. Me and Yoli finally released the 1048 update, the 1048 rework, and this is just along with the 131 rework and the new additions of Ferdinand, this is pretty much the start of the revamps to all current site SCPs, and along with the revamps to all SCPs on site already. We're also going to be adding in new SCPs over time. New SCPs like 939. I'm not going to say any others, of course, but yeah, just to clarify for everyone, there will be new SCPs, but there are also going to be lots of current SCP reworks. All SCPs currently in the game that haven't been reworked already will get reworks like 049, 106, 682, 457. Even also the alpha stuff will also get reworks. We'll try to make it so I want to focus on adding interactions between everything and get everyone involved. So like SCPs have forcible containment methods like the bears have it right now, like Ferned got. And yeah, just able to just for them to be much more interactive with everything.
I'm seeing some questions that can be easily answered by the document we released. So if you haven't already read that in its entirety, I highly encourage you go read that. It also talks about SCPs in there. All right, let me scroll up and find some older questions.
Yeah, I've got a few questions of yours that I want to address here. I'm going to be talking about two things: changes to CD gameplay and changes to FP gameplay. Some of these things we've already coded. Some of these things we have planned. but we don't yet have the scripters or the building done for it. I just want you guys to be aware that these are already things we've discussed internally and we're working on.
Yep.
When it comes to changes to FP, I know a lot of you guys have wanted for a long time to there be more things that you can do as FP. What we've discussed internally and what we've agreed upon this far is that FP are going to have a couple of lighter jobs that you're going to be able to do on site. Instead of us, creating entire new departments for a couple of smaller things, we're going to give a few actually important tasks that can actually help the site move along to FP. So you don't just have to be stuck at 5. I'm not going to be releasing which ones those are yet, but I can tell you that it's going to be important both to make sure that Class E stay contained, and we already have a couple that are going to be important to keep the trams running that we've actually already coded, but we're still fine tuning, and it's still going to take us a little bit to release because it's not one of our top priorities right now. When it comes to CD gameplay, first, I want you guys to know that we internally haven't forgotten, and Dax sure as hell doesn't let anyone forget that the Class D leader Game Pass is a thing, and we're going to bring a couple of features in for that are really going to make the Game Pass what it was meant to be. Dax isn't here, so I don't feel comfortable letting you guys know exactly what they are. I can tell you that Class D leaders are going to remain a very rare thing. I can tell you that after that feature release and after we give leaders a couple of time to you guys invested in the Game Pass first, so you get this exclusively for a while, we might from time to time make the Game Pass available. But those features are not going to be related to guns. It's not going to be related to any loadout items. It's actually going to be a feature that sets the leader apart from any other Game Pass. And once we're comfortable doing the announcement, once Dax gives the go-ahead, he probably would give now, but I don't want to take his word for granted. We'll let you guys know specifically what that is. So stay tuned for that. When it comes to, I know a lot of teams are concerned about earning credits, earning paycheck. I know this is a question a lot of you guys have posted about. There will be ways for every single team to earn credits. That is not a question we're even posing. There has been a recent update that lets a couple of teams earn credits just by playing, but there will be more interactive things. We have considered a multitude of things, like, for example, MD getting credits for every checkup or for every heal that they do, but we obviously also have to take a little bit of time to ensure that this isn't abused, because players could also, for example, just shoot each other so they can get credits healing. Everything requires balancing, so that's why it takes us a little bit of time to get things like that out. I know you guys have a couple of questions regarding void crawlers and other alpha site related stuff. That isn't something we've forgotten about. That isn't something we've stopped working. Dax has assured us of that. He is the biggest fan of the alpha site on the team, and I think no one in this voice chat would deny that, but we're not talking about that at this moment. But trust that it's something that's still there. A lot of those SCPs are actually still in game. We just don't use them often, and they still work, and we're looking at how we can better integrate them into gameplay. For those of you asking about bugs, if those bugs are on the feedback website, then we know about them and we're working on them. I'm not going to respond to each individual one of them, not the least because there sure are a lot of them. But know that we're keeping track of them, and we have several people in the team just dedicated to fixing those as they come in and as fast as possible.
Yeah, may
Obviously,
I
I can make a
answer more
promise. Yeah,
questions in a little bit?
yeah.
Okay. We have been working on a new system for lore and how we want to operate that department. Um, all I can say right now is we will be working to include the community and people within the community, whether it be command members or even SC1s, SC0s. We want to make lore events and our lore creation very involved within the community. We want you to be a part of it. Otherwise, it kind of feels like you're really just reading a book. Then you set it down and you never read again. We have been working on a new concept recently. I'm not going to say anything on that, but it should bring a lot of new ideas. That's all I'm going to say on that.
I do want to start doing more stuff like how we used to, with like what we did for the 1048 update with those little lore events that happened on site.
Yeah.
I want to bring back stuff like that. It's how we really used to do it a long time ago with lore stuff, where stuff just kind of happens naturally on site. It's not some sort of like big announcement or anything, but yeah, it just sort of happens on site.
I saw something about ETS, Engineering Technical Services. We do have a plan to bring that back. That's also all I'm going to say on that matter. Logistics is not coming back. No, never. Never in a million years.
What? Yeah, what I referred to before. Do we have internal plans and do we have internal desire to bring back the engineering and technical departments? Yes. Is it something that we've actually already spent some time on? That's also true. What I feel like there isn't an issue telling you guys now, because I feel like this is important information, is a lot of you guys like the logistics department. I understand that. Saying that it's never going to be back, maybe not the best way to illustrate what we're going to be doing. What we're actually going to be doing is we're just going to merge some of the logistics tasks into either engineering and FP. And that's kind of what I meant by FP jobs. We found that having an entire department for it didn't make a lot of sense. There was not a lot of you guys, a lot of things for you guys to do. But if we give that to FP, then you get a lot added to the gameplay, and it's a lot more that you can do without having to join the department. Basically, every single user will be getting every single user in the foundation, so not class Ds in this case, will be getting extra jobs that they can do around site. That's what we get for not having to add back the logistics department. So there's a trade we're doing here, and it's going to allow us to give the average player a lot more to do. Also, I'm sorry for the delay, guys. I'm reading through a lot of your questions. There's a lot to answer here. I know you guys have a lot of specific questions about things like groups of interest. There has been, by the way, speaking on that, there has been a little bit of delay on our part on dealing with groups of interest. That has been because, as you've probably noticed, the laggiest time on site are the raids. I already mentioned before in this, if you weren't here on stage, this is because the thing that causes the most lag are gunfights. And when we fix that, it's going to be much easier for us to bring in groups of interest, make raids a more common thing, especially as we add things for people to do during those raids, because we don't want SCD, MD, FP gameplay to be completely halted because there's a raid. We want everyone to be able to enjoy the site at once, and we know that raids can bring a halt to that sometimes. So we're working really hard to balance that out. And if we haven't added as many GLOIs as I know a lot of you guys want us to add, it's specifically because of that.
Yeah.
I-
As a note, once that issue is resolved, what I can say is that all remaining ones that DEA have already asked us to add will be added in relatively short order. But beyond that, I cannot say anything to the public.
Yeah, there's a lot that we want to keep within MAD for two major reasons. One, it gives us some breathing room. There's a lot of features that we don't talk about that we're working on because if we, at the end, this does happen during development, unfortunately, if we find out this would completely unbalance the game, we couldn't possibly add this, or there's a major bug with this that would require significant changes to the game, we can take that back. We can either redo it or sometimes scrap it entirely. It's the nature of development. So there's a lot of things that we're working on that we really can't share because of that, not because we enjoy keeping them secret. There is nothing that developers enjoy more than talking about what they're working on. But more because I know a lot of you can be hurt and can feel down because a feature you really wanted ends up not making it into the game. So I'm sorry if we can't answer things like we're going to be able, for example, to break down doors. I can tell you we've worked on it, but I'm not going to tell you what state we're on, and I'm not going to share any more about that. Doesn't because I can't guarantee you yet. If I could, I would. But we test a lot of features on a daily basis, and a lot of them don't make it through. For the people asking if there are going to be new SCPs, I'm going to assume that you just arrived here now, and that you were neither looking nor reading the announcement. Yes, there are going to be new SCPs. We have developers dedicated just to creating SCPs, which makes it so that there's less pressure on the rest of the team, and we can release them more often than we were previously. I'm not going to tell you when they release. I'm not going to put pressure on the developers like that. But yeah, they are looking cooler than ever, and that's my personal opinion. For the people asking about ELS and regarding other department-specific features, for ELS specifically, for those of you that haven't heard, and by the way, for those of you that don't know, it's the electronic light system for vehicles. Works, and I'm just waiting on the user interface to be done. But it will be a big change. You'll see why when it releases. And I know some of you guys want some of the old vehicles back, and we're looking into it. It's been a bit difficult because of the nature of vehicles. I feel like I can tell you at this moment, because I've already tested it a couple of times, that yes, MP, you will get the interceptor back. Just stop pinging me about it, for the love of God.
Hey, Dev,
Not the least, yeah.
could you look at your pings real quick?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm sorry for the delay, guys. We have a lot of things that we're discussing, so so we're going to stream to you right now one of the original builds for one of the sites we're working on on what we internally called Rising Dawn, which now we're just going to stop referring it and we're just going to call it Pathos. It's the original site revamp for 5. We've changed this over, but since we've kept the style, we're now going to show you what we were going for, what originally defined the style that you can now see in the station, in the tram stations, which is the first update we delivered in the new 5 style. and the style that will be coming to the rest of the side 5. As soon as Rust, of course, loads.
Yeah, the thing is being. So this is pretty much the fly design. This is the main corridor, which leads to the breach shelter, which is unfinished yet. I'll remove all scripts just to get a bit.
Actually,
Well,
right now.
there are. I think it's worth noting that we've taken a little bit more with coming up with the design for Rising Dawn than we obviously would like to. We wanted to deliver this kind of update much earlier, but as you can imagine, this is a very significant change on our part. We wanted to make sure there were less errors than ever before. We wanted to make sure we were more consistent, so
I fixed it,
it
Russ.
doesn't
You can
look
join
like
now.
Yeah.
Hold on.
So it doesn't look like sites are glued together and everything like that. That shows in the end build. Things are more polished. We thought more about the content and about each department and what they need. And that's going to reflect on the sites you see now. We've already looked at Epsilon, which shows how we thought about SCD and MTF and what they need to do. And if you're lucky now, you're going to look at what we had planned and what we, in some ways, still have planned for 5. This is not the build we're going. It's worth noting that this is not the build we're going for anymore. We're going for the same style. We're sticking it with the same style, but you're not going to see this complete build in game. Some elements of it will just be ported over almost as they are shown here, and some elements just won't make it because we've decided that they're either not good for gameplay, or they're nice but they would add too much lag, or just not ideal for what we're trying to create out of the site. That is obviously if we manage to stream. Let me take the time to also look through a couple more questions. Don't bother putting your questions in bold because I will just ignore that. That
Right,
goes
there
for
we go. We should be fine.
too.
Alright, so this is the main corridor which leads to the breach shelter and the SD spawn. This is the kind of the cave with bath box. Alright, let's first go to the security office, which should have been and probably will be the new security office. This is the rally area. It's unfinished, but still.
So many W's, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so let's go. That's the primary SD locker room. They spawn right there. And also, just to mention, this is just a spawn location. You can choose from the primary SD spawn, and this is. So this is some sort of just official spawn without any shooting range, anything, just small thing. Well, this is CSU. This is this is nothing yet. And what else we got there? This is SRU. Oh, this is MP. Nothing interesting in there. Oh, we got some command offices, which we
Those are
added
so
that.
old.
Yeah, they're really old. We did not update them for a pretty long time overall. This is the primary file lobby with this spinning screen. And actually, I might show you it later on. It changes with the protocol. So if there's red heron, it's gonna show you a special decal which says red heron, get the fuck out of here and go to breach shelter. What else we got there? Well, this is the main auditorium. I should probably show it to you. Yeah, this is our thingy, which will not be loaded until it's actually needed because it's fucking huge, say the least. So that's pretty much the whole thing. It fits like 200, 300
I have
people.
to go back and look at the math, but if I recall correctly, it was around 375 or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Just saying,
Total?
you're currently streaming the stage in the stage.
Yes, you are.
In the meantime, what else we got there? This is never gonna be made. What else we got? Oh, well, let's go this way. So this
that's
is
the bathroom.
You know what you should show them?
oh yeah,
Show 'em
the
the
atrium.
atrium.
Yeah, later on. So this is the FB spawn, which is well, this is actually what you're gonna meet with the FB jobs update. Probably, I don't know, maybe. So this goes right there.
Hold
This
on,
is
just
like
before you go out there,
yeah,
we have never shown anyone, not even the Patreon supporters, what the atrium
Yeah.
is.
The only
We
people
Yeah,
have
who've seen
well,
it
planned to
are
keep this
2A.
entirely secret until release. So
that's
this is
some
the first
DDA.
time any of you guys are seeing this.
Yeah, meet the atrium. This is the most gorgeous thing on the whole Pathos. Oh, where the fuck is the building? Oh, I guess
The
it's
building's
Uh,
gone.
there was a
it may
giant
not
building.
it may not load in from this far away, but
You know, I
or it
want
may
No,
have been
probably
removed in this
someone
specific.
forgot to add the little flag that makes it load in, or someone deleted.
yeah,
But I
we
think
plan
someone
to have a
deleted it because I
submarine
added
going.
the flag myself.
Wait, so it's just not there. Well, this is sad. Let's just get back into it.
I'll remind you guys, we do not have any plans of taking this exact building layout and porting it over to the live game.
Yeah, it's
we
just
found in testing
We
that was
planned
far
that.
too large.
We decided on that several months ago because right now this site fi is it's just too big.
Oh, you
We
might
also
want to just show
mentioned that
Pathos
in the
DDA.
document, and this building style, this will entirely be seen in the live game. How the site was made, the different colors, theming, etc. That will be in game, but this exact layout will not.
right. So what else we got there? Oh, we got these rooms. I love them, but they're
Yeah.
never gonna get used.
You have DDA
So
spawn.
yeah, let's
Um,
just show you people DDA spawn. This is that's just the lobby. That's the another lobby, I guess. That's their spawn. Please put. Oh, hello. Oh, what
So
do you?
long ago, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty old. What else we got there? A few offices. This beautiful room. This. Oh yeah, I made this room and I was lazy when making it, so I just placed a bunch of things. These do not matter. Oh, that's probably where Pathos is. I don't know. Probably. But still, that's the whole thing, pretty much. Oh, still have this.
Oh my
the
gosh, I
original
remember
jar.
that.
The really bad script one.
Oh, we got Shadley's office. What else we got?
Also, cool little tidbit. We made those clocks work, like actually
Yeah,
work.
they were working,
Yeah.
Oh
but
yeah,
I
that
deleted all the
the
clips.
amount of time that it took me to sync those clocks to the actual city that's written above. Good grief.
So what else we got then? This thing. Oh yeah, Pathbox, my beloved. Pathbox. So
Ooh,
meet the whole
big.
thing, which is well, yeah, that's just the point where you can have the best looks of both the atrium and this shitty ass cave. I don't like it at all. What else we got? Oh yeah, let's just show you the second floor. This should be like a higher rank FP spawn. So like if you're some important dude like SC4, you spawn right there.
Unix,
Uh,
stop spreading rumors.
no, maybe. Well, what else you got? This is the staircase. Another
Oh,
staircase.
there is the AD area.
Wait, what? AD? Oh, this should have been.
Oh,
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 wait.
and the
no.
control room,
Yeah, by the control room.
which
No, by the
I don't know
controller.
if it's in that TC, but
Yeah,
It
it
is.
should be right there.
I
This is.
know. I
By the way,
grouped it.
people, this is like from this point. This is the only area which I did not make myself. Yeah.
Well, aside from that one room that I made, but
Oh yeah, I did not actually. Let me actually show the people what you have made. It's
yeah,
actually really nice.
yeah. This was being worked on before I was hired.
Yeah.
I
No,
worked on a
actually, you
janitor's
were
job,
hired, but you were not active at the time.
yeah, I hadn't
Then,
actually been put on payroll yet. So
and then this is the only area which I did not make also, and this one. This was made, I think, by Devshin or who? Yeah, by Devshin. So, uh, this is the AD spawn pretty much. and this is the control room. It's pretty neat overall, and it should have had like a view on. We have planned to have like a giant ass monorail transit hub right there, but we did not make it in the end. We just scrapped the whole thing.
Dev, do you want to address optimization again? Because that's still
Oh yeah,
popping
it's
up.
actually
Yeah, I'm going
Ryan-
to address optimization, and I have a couple more questions that I'm going to get to. And yeah, I'm going to cover a couple more. I don't want to extend this event much longer. I don't want to tire you guys out, and I want to keep some suspense on what we're going to add. So, just a couple of things that I think we should cover. First of all, when it comes to optimization, I feel it's important to stress that the way we built these areas, it's with a lot more standards and a lot more efficient than we've built before. It means that players with weaker hardware are going to be able to run Pathos much better than they have up until now. It also goes into the scripting. We've made a lot of optimizations that make it so both the server crashes less, which you might have already noticed, and so that at the end of the day, most players should be able to hit 60 FPS without problem. I know one of the questions you guys had was regarding uh, settings to reduce lag. Uh, we already have a couple of things that we're going to be exposing in settings, like fog, that you might have noticed recently is missing in some areas. It looks really good, but we noticed that it was affecting a lot of players. So you're going to have a setting to enable or disable that, and it's going to save in between gameplay sessions, so you don't have to reconfigure it. And it's going to allow players that have the best hardware to get the best settings. It's going to allow those of you that don't have as good a hardware to go in and play just as smoothly. And it's also going to reduce a lot of lag spikes that I know some people have been experiencing. We're working on those. Couple of other questions that I've noted down here, and I think unless Matthew has any disagreement here, these are going to be the last ones I'm going to answer today.
Yeah.
SCP cross testing. Um,
After
we
you finish, I just want to put out some
Yeah.
notes before we end.
SCP cross testing. We have done a lot of changes in code that finally allow us to develop things like this. Things like, for example, the roar of 682 actually breaking down windows just wasn't possible until a short time ago, and now we're able to add that in a couple of seconds. Things like those integrations between the site and SCPs and SCPs and other SCPs are now starting to become a thing because we have better systems, we have a more organized team, and that's going to reflect on those things. However, I'm not going to release anything specific on that yet. But yes, it's now going to be a possibility that SCPs might have effects that stack on top of each other and might have effects that even create new effects between SCPs that you just weren't expecting. Joint raids. I'd like to point out for those of you putting a little bit of pressure in DDA, joint raids is also a thing that MAD has to put a lot of work into. We are putting work into making sure that the raid systems are something that DDA can just define what they want and it will happen. So if they agree to a raid between three groups, then three groups can raid at once. And we're going to make it so that instead of developers having to define hard rules for raids, those can just be tweaked by DDA before an event. But that's still going to take some time. It takes a lot of work for us. We need to add new features into the game that allow for that. But you will be seeing that coming eventually. For the people asking about Pandora, no, Pandora will not be removed from 5. It's still going to be a fixture. And in fact, it illustrates that when we do these site redesigns, we're doing our very best to ensure that we don't remove any features that exist currently, unless they're really bad for gameplay. So things like Pandora or the radio that you all seem to hate in 5, those are sticking, and we're going to make
the
it
radio is
louder
getting an
next
up.
update.
The radio is in fact louder next update by 60%, but does now have something new that people have been asking for since before I started working here. You'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, you'll
Yeah.
just have to go there and listen to it. Yeah,
It now
because
follows you
we
as well.
we like to punish you a little bit.
The voices. Ooh.
In fact, yes,
Yeah,
I did in
and
fact make it 60% louder last night.
So a couple
And,
more
yeah.
questions you guys have. Yes, I will address Pathbucks. There is already a little Pathbucks logo somewhere in the game that you guys just haven't noticed because you haven't been paying enough attention. And if you find it, then maybe you'll find where Pathbucks will be coming soon near to
Craft
you.
cookies.
It's
Yeah, the
inside a
fact you guys haven't
specific
seen
containment
that has
zone.
been
Go
a source
inside,
of
check it
much
out.
disappointment. Yeah, sorry for cutting you off, Unix.
Oh, it's fine.
So a couple more questions. The that I had written down here. I already covered FP jobs, but for those of you that still had some questions, I'm not releasing the specific names of FP jobs. Yes, they will be taking some jobs related to the trams. They will be taking some jobs related to logistics. And they might even take some jobs related to minor site maintenance. There are some things we still don't know about these, so we're not going to be talking much about them. But yes, it's something we really want to put towards because we know that FP haven't had a lot of gameplay thus far. Regarding Monorail Ops Room and ETS, I'm not going to confirm any relationship between those. The monorail ops room will be available when it's built. We haven't built it yet, and it will probably be way before ETS is a thing. So whether ETS gets any gameplay there, I can't tell you yet. When it comes to STD subdivisions, I know some of you have questions, but that's something we still need to talk with both O5s and SCD Command. Right now, in my opinion, take this with a grain of salt, obviously. We believe we still have a lot that we want to add to SCD gameplay. I feel like if we go in and add subdivisions right now, which we could do, that would be work that we're not putting towards base SCD gameplay. And I want to have a really good structure of there isn't a boring moment for SCD on site. Same goes for MD and their subdivisions. For those of you asking about reworking the commands for private servers, I already addressed that here, but yes, I'm working on a fix. The problem we've been having is we already rewrote the commands, but as far as we can test, they work, and then you guys tell us that they don't. So we're working on a better way to test to make sure that doesn't happen. But right now, as far as we can tell, they work, and that's what's been delaying us fixing them. I know some of you have questions about foundation investors and their personal defense weapon. That's something you're going to have to ping us about in the reserve channels, and we will discuss it there. And for those asking about team paycheck, specifically the SD paycheck, as I already mentioned, our objective is to make sure that you earn in-game credits for any task that the game encourages you to do. So for SD, defending and guarding the facility and the CDC, we are doing our best to make sure that you get credits for that. For CSU, that does mean for combat healing and actually taking more of a healing role than a combative role. For MP, enforcement actions, everything like that. We'll be trying to add paychecks to all of those things. The only thing that's stopping us is we also need to guarantee that you can't farm it. So it's a slow process, but we haven't forgotten about you. And last but not least, for those asking about lore questions, we just recently started merging the lore department directly into MAD. We brought on a lot of people to work on lore, so you're going to see more from that end. There are a couple of very big announcements we want to do there, but I'm not going to do them in this session. You're just going to have to stay tuned and make sure that your pings are on so that you can actually be the first one through them. So yeah, that's it for my Q&A. I know Matthew has a couple of things he still wants to cover, so I'll let him get to that. And thank you guys for coming.
I am still seeing questions regarding different sites being remade and how big they're going to be.
I guess that's my question.
Yeah,
Huh?
that is to be decided as we work on each one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the size can change drastically as we work on them and as we realize, oh wait, maybe this, like, just so you guys have an idea, we had a gigantic build of highways a short time ago that we may even release some screenshots of later, if Russ doesn't mind. That was just beautiful, but it would
I've
impact
seen
the gameplay a
one.
lot because it would take 10 minutes to walk from one
Uh,
point to the other.
Should I
We
send a
can't tell you the
screenshot of
exact
that
size.
on stage, Matthew?
I'll just
Pathos
find
is
the current
actually really
screenshot that we have.
Oh, I was going to send one of the in-dev ones from the side.
Sure.
Let me just scroll down here until I find it. You can keep talking while I do this.
I was just gonna say as well, like the size of like current Pathos is quite large. The new kind of redo is going to be larger, obviously. The reason it feels smaller, I guess, on current Pathos is just because A, used to it, and B, you've got lots and
There
lots
we
of
go.
cars, so it's quite easy to just sort of drive around the whole site in like a couple
It's
minutes.
inside the stage text chat. That specific section will not be released because we found that it did not work well with gameplay. But yeah,
We will take a
Yeah.
ton of things from this exact build, take the style, all the stuff, and revamp a big part of 5 of it. Well, not just big part, whole 5, which will lead after, well, certain updates of overall style, epsilon, all the stuff.
Gavin, Evan, I do want to address that. That is one of the reasons that we went with not going ahead with the site fight that we showed you earlier. Even though we love it, and it's clear that you guys love it, it just wouldn't work well with gameplay. We made it too big for realisticality, and that's just not going to work in Pathos, even though we would love for it to be in game.
Yeah. And by the way, we'll keep considering these things as our ability to do stuff changes. So, for example, we probably would give more consideration to a larger site now because the trams are back. And by the way, I can tell you guys because we've already added it, they're going to get a speed bump. It's going to be a little faster, and you're going to get panels in the tram stations, which we already had planned actually, that show you how far the tram is. I'd prefer to add like a timer that says how long it's going to be, but I'm not ready to add that one yet. So for now, it will show you how far the tram is from the station and in what stations it currently is. So you're going to get a better idea of how long you have to wait. It's also going to be, at the moment, double the speed it was previously, so it's going to get to you faster. We really want it to be easier to travel around the site. And as we make the site larger, that will hopefully allow us to not hinder gameplay. If we get to a point where most people say travel by tram, we'd probably consider making the site significantly larger, not the least because it actually helps us reduce lag for you.
I saw someone mention that they still want to see the atrium come in game. That's not to say that we're going to scrap the style of this fight. I would love to see the atrium in game too. That's just going to be left up to whether it really works.
yeah, it might work,
We
it might
all
not.
see that you really love the atrium, so I'm sure that we'll do our best to see what we can do with it. But I
Actually,
cannot
we
make
have a
any
shit ton of
promises.
ideas already how to implement it.
Yep.
Well, we're finally
Also,
Yeah.
as a note, although there A question about if we would be able to release this version of Phi as a standalone showcase type thing. It's unlikely, considering that a lot of the systems designed for it we don't use, or we have different systems that we've made since the ones for it were made, like doors.
Yeah, more importantly, listen, I know you guys want to see the content, but I'd have to assign a developer to that, and that's a lot of time we lose on actually delivering content that you can play in game. So while I know it's a request you have, there are just some requests that we don't have the size and the structure to accommodate, and that would be one of them. But you're probably going to see a lot of things that look like that, and hopefully even better in game in the not so distant future. So stay tuned. We're really working hard to make sure you guys have access to things like that.
Oh, and by the way, about the optimization of all the things, I'm just gonna tell.
Your
Oh,
mic
wait,
has
wait,
cut
why
out,
is not my?
Rust.
Oh well, that I myself have NVIDIA 1050 Ti, and I have. Wait, hold on. I have Intel Core i5, and well, I run all of these things on 60 FPS stable, and I don't experience any lag spikes or anything. So it's pretty optimized. So yeah. What
Yeah,
else I have?
it's not to detract from those of you that do have lag spikes, but the point is, all of this has been, for example, on my end, tested on the laptop. There are a couple of more developers that have gone through the trouble of digging up old laptops and testing them. In fact, as it stands, the current version of the game, at least in my case, was completely developed on a laptop. And while we're adding effects that target high-end players, because we want the site to look really nice, we're also making sure that that won't affect those of you that can't run that amount of effects without cutting off gameplay, while still trying to make the site look as great as possible. This obviously is a difficult balancing act, but I feel like we've gotten better at it. And you're going to see that as we release the new sites, which I personally, on my testing, have been more efficient than the sites we have currently.
Are
Yeah.
there any
Oh,
other
go.
things that you guys want to talk about?
For me,
So I think we
I
should
just
wrap this up.
okay.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I will say that as far as environmental storytelling, since I've seen some mentions of that, you will have to wait and see. We're not going to discuss that in public because there's no fun in spoiling the story.
Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been working on the toilet law for like quite a while now, and it's almost ready, so I don't want to spoil that for anyone.
I
Yeah,
says
we signed Unix to that. He loves it.
Yeah, I do. Good, good.
Hold on, I actually want to show you this.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, right.
Also have this.
Yes.
Yes, these may or may not make it on or into the live game. We hope to have them, but we cannot guarantee it.
Okay. I'll go ahead and wrap this up, especially because I got to go and write a college application essay soon. If anyone was not here in the beginning, I would highly suggest go ahead and reading the document and primary notices. I'll go ahead and summarize that for you guys. In general, I'll just make this clear. We are not planning on canceling anything, not canceling Rising Dawn. We will be, over the course of next period of time, we will be releasing Rising Dawn in several much larger updates. So say the new
Epsilon.
site Epsilon that will release in an update, hopefully sooner than later. We definitely want to get that out to you guys. pretty soon.
I don't really like to say the dates, but with the current progress, probably around December.
No, don't say don't say the words.
no.
Don't say the
We are
words.
not going to give you any
No,
date.
you jinx it. Go
You didn't
outside,
specify
turn
the
3
year.
times, and
Paul.
spit.
You didn't specify the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2077, guys. 2077.
Yeah.
Have you not noticed that we're superstitious in MAD? You cannot just say something; it won't happen.
Ian, I will make it clear that we are not going to rush to push out an update. We want to make sure that this is jam-packed with content that you guys will enjoy, and especially that we enjoy making for you guys. So sure, Rust said that date, but I would not keep that in your heads, because if something comes up or we decide that, hey, maybe this update needs some more content that we want to get out to you, then we are going to make sure that we can do that for you guys. I think we talked about in the beginning about SCPs. We are planning to redesign every SCP that we have not already worked on. Sorry, not redesign, rework. So I think Mario spoke to that too. We've reworked SCP-082 and 1048, which just released yesterday. And then we do plan to rework all of the other SCPs currently in game, such as 049, 682. We also have plans to bring in several new SCPs. In the document, we say around a dozen. I will not give you any information other than that. But that is definitely something to look forward to, especially after seeing the new 1048s created by Yaldi. Big credit to them. You definitely have a lot to look forward to.
Basically, we're gonna do like we're gonna kind of go back and forth between revamp SCP and new SCPs.
Yep. Okay, I thought you were going to
There will
talk
be
more.
no new SCPs. There will be. We're just going to
Like-
copy paste in the
Like,
free
I mean,
models.
like cut off.
Yeah.
We're
Uh,
not going to repeat a release date because we did not give you a release date.
Also, just can I say something? It's just about the building. This Epsilon still requires a shit ton of scripting in terms of the Epsilon rework, so December is just a building thing. And it's not even valid. We may finish in like, not December, but like, I don't know, June. But still, yeah.
Again, they didn't specify the year or the calendar.
Yeah, definitely.
or the epoch.
Yeah.
Why did what?
Yeah, and I'm working on redoing the bot at Helix. Oh, sorry, I mean Cytosine. It's not Helix. Well, but soon it will be completely new, completely awesome. It's going to have a custom verification system. So I don't think yeah. Screw it. I'll announce. Yeah, we're going to get rid of Rover and Blocks link, and we're just going to do it custom. It's going to be like instant linking to your Discord roles. Like you won't have to update or anything; it will just do it. Get rid of all the horrible App Center bugs, and hopefully kind of have a web component to it as well. So I'm hoping at some point in the future you might be able to like apply on the website because it's probably easier, and
Less
things like that.
cat filter.
Yeah.
Yes, but well, we can link it to your account anyway, so we're hey.
Yeah.
But like, we only started chat filtering it because after that guy started sending some very mean things to us. But that too, automated like ranking and stuff, like all nice stuff that we currently have, but just sort of better and more reliably.
If I can build a bit on what Unix said, this system will also allow us to then, implement a bunch of cool stuff we've wanted for a while to, for example, check which of you have like Patreon roles in the Discord, and hopefully, knowing which one is your Discord account will allow us to check that from the game, and also do stuff like, for example, allow you to authenticate in our feedback platform so we know who's giving the feedback. We can better both moderate and keep track of the impact of the suggestions we're getting. And by the way, thank you to all those that have been diligently, even if annoyingly, because we then have to fix them, reporting the bugs on the feedback, because we've been putting them into our system and we've already fixed a lot of them. And
Yep.
you're
You
going
guys
to
are the
see that
reason that
reflected in the
we
upcoming.
are fixing these bugs.
Exactly. For example, the number of times that applications fail to rank people now has gone significantly down, and I no longer have to fix people manually, basically ever in that way. I mean, every so often someone bugs the hell out, but that will not be an issue in the new system. It's just I'm dealing with 3-year-old work here. It's sort of God willing that it's still running, but.
And I think it's worth noting, Unix, that part of the reason is that it's not yet, but it should be coming out soon. That the way we rank people in Roblox isn't an official thing that Roblox supports, so it tends to have a lot of issues. Like, it's perfectly normal for us to tell Roblox, hey, rank this person up, and they will say they did, but it didn't actually happen. Roblox is working on fixing this and providing us with an API that we can actually call and say this person needs to be SC1, and it just does it instantly. And when this comes out, which according to them won't take much longer, that will fix a lot of the issues you guys have been experiencing. But we're working very hard to mitigate them in the meantime so that it happens as little as possible.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also things that we can do with this new verification system that we couldn't do. So, for example, if as an opt-in, I'm considering making it so that if you want, and only if you want, to clarify, to be auto joined to all the departmental discords you're meant to be in, we can do that. It's really easy. So you just check a tick box thing, give the app permissions, and then whenever you join a department, it automatically joins that department's Discord server for you. You don't need to install anything; it just does it with permissions. So we can do stuff like that.
Do we think we're ready to wrap up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I do not have closing remarks.
Oh, I thought you had something to say. Well, in that case, listen, I just want to thank you guys for coming here, for listening to us, for keeping tuned to the updates. Obviously, and this is always very important to note, please keep buying our Game Passes. Sorry, I had to.
I need money.
Yes.
Yes. Money helps fund development. Thank you. This is news to everyone. But it's actually helpful to us because that's how we pay for some of the tools we use and for the servers that we have outside, which help us support the game. So thank you to all of those doing that. And more importantly, thanks for not pinging us as much this time.
Yeah,
I think we can leave it there.
By the way, the people who keep complaining about Pandora Killbrick being shifted over by half a stud, I have fixed that for the next update. You're welcome.
Or I'm just gonna make it random.
The things
leave
people
some element of
notice.
surprise. Yeah.
You move the kill brick all the way to the fly window, right?
Obviously.
Oh well, randomly it can. It's a random range per server.
Yeah.
No, I think what we should do is just Pandora gets randomly angry at someone and just For the duration of that server, just if that person spawns in anywhere nearby, just boom.
Hey, thanks for the lore idea. I'll go write a 5,000 word page document on it.
Yeah, we're gonna make Pandora mobile
Actually,
and
if you're
target
going to write
people.
that document, I think there's a suggestion anyone on the stage can agree, which is we make a treaty with Pandora right here, right now, which we should call it the Captain Connor Defense Treaty, and Pandora will just protect Phi from any time he just says, hostage. Pandora
yeah.
just shoots a ray right at him.
Oh no! Every time he says hostage, it gives the gun to the nearest FP that he's holding to the nearest FP next to him.
Exactly. See,
Gives
I
them a
have no
tri-barrel.
problem with this.
Okay,
This sounds
in all
great.
seriousness, no.
Yes, we won't be having that. I'd like to make that clear. At least we won't inform Matthew if we do. No, I'm kidding. But
Yeah.
seriously, it's better we wrap this up now. And thank you all guys for coming before this goes any further down. And for those of you in MAD, feel free to join me for a little after party in the workspace. And yeah, see you all guys in game.
Right.
See you guys in Rising Dawn, whatever.
Bye.
2077 people.